Imagine sitting in a room filled with 300 of the brightest minds on Earth, all sweating over alien symbols, desperately trying to crack a code that could decide humanity's future. Now imagine being the only one who scores a perfect 0, and still becoming the key to breaking an alien shield designed to stop entire warfleets. That is exactly what happened when Alexander Chen whispered words in a forgotten human tongue. A dead language so old, it didn't just speak to aliens. It shook the very fabric of their reality. If this story already has your curiosity hooked, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps more people discover these kinds of wild, human-against-the-universe tales. Subscribe if you love stories where humanity isn't just surviving but surprising the galaxy. And hey, share this one with a friend, because trust me, you'll want someone to talk about this twist with later. The examination hall was a cathedral of light and silence. Rows of Terran candidates, 300 in total, faced glowing panels filled with alien symbols. These were not just tests, they were gateways to the stars. Humanity's admission into the great interstellar confederation hinged on this. Every eye twitched, every hand moved with frantic precision as Earth's brightest attempted to wrestle meaning from the Zephyrian linguistic matrix. Except for one man, Alexander Chen. While others scribbled and swiped on their neural interfaces, his screen remained untouched. A perfect blank. He didn't look nervous. He didn't even look frustrated. He sat there like a stone in the middle of a raging river, his calm expression a silent defiance to the storm of activity around him. Nora Williams, 3 rows ahead, noticed. She always noticed. Her own display glowed green with progress, the product of years of tireless study. But when she glanced back and saw Alexander's stillness, a crease formed on her brow. She had seen that look before, when he stared at relics of forgotten civilizations, as if listening to voices that no longer spoke. The countdown appeared in the corner of every screen. 10 seconds remaining. The candidates pushed harder, neural implants burning with effort. Some managed partial translations. Most flailed helplessly against the unyielding puzzle. Alexander? He looked down at his hands. Not at the glowing screen. Not at the symbols. At his own hands, scarred, calloused, and worn. They were maps of another time, another world. Memories flickered, the voice of his grandfather whispering in a tongue the world had long since declared dead. A language silenced half a century ago. The timer hit 0. Results flooded the hall. Candidates groaned, disappointed. Even the best barely scraped 20%. Then came Alexander's score. 0. Not just low, not just bad. Absolute nothingness. A void so pure it made others look away in pity. The Zephyrian proctor, a being of living crystal, processed the data without a flicker of emotion. The human species demonstrates insufficient linguistic capability. It chimed in a voice like ringing glass. 12 names were called forward. Alexander's was not among them, yet he did not leave. The silence after Alexander's final word was not empty. It was alive. The examination hall, once filled with sterile light and hums of machinery, now thrummed with something deeper, something older. The Zephyrian proctor's crystalline body flickered in colors no human eye had ever catalogued. Its voice a trembling hymn. "You have spoken what we thought forever lost," it whispered. "The first language, the seed from which all tongues flower." Alexander stood slowly, uncertain, his hands still tingling from the vibration of the ancient syllables. It was just something my grandfather taught me. A bedtime story, really. The Zephyrian's facets flashed violently as if offended. Stories shape reality. You carry what we sought across 1,000 worlds. Across the station, other Zephyrians froze mid-motion. Their minds, normally encased in the rigid walls of crystalline logic, had been breached not by force, but by meaning. The resonance Alexander unleashed bypassed translation entirely. It was not about words. It was about understanding. Nora Williams stumbled into the hall wide-eyed. She had felt it too. Her years of study, endless nights memorizing alien syntax, dissolved in an instant. With one breath, Alexander had accomplished what months of human effort had failed to achieve. She whispered, half in awe, half in fear. "You didn't just pass the test, you broke it." The HFY Confederation was ancient, spanning countless star systems. They prided themselves on perfect order, unshakable shields, and unbreakable codes. Yet here, before their eyes, one human had unraveled their greatest structures with the simplest tool of all, memory. The proctor lowered itself, a gesture of reverence no Zephyrian had ever shown. For centuries we searched for the bridge, a language not of conquest but of connection. We thought it lost in the ashes of forgotten stars, and here it sleeps, within humanity. Alexander blinked. "So what does that mean? That I'm some kind of translator?" "No," the proctor said, its crystalline eyes burning with reverent fire. "You are a teacher." The announcement spread like wildfire across the Confederation. The humans are keepers of the first language. World after world turned their attention to Earth, once dismissed as a primitive blue marble. Ambassadors arrived not with superiority, but with hunger. Hunger for the ancient tongue. Scholars, warriors, engineers, all sought to hear the voice that could dissolve barriers no technology had ever breached. On the deck of humanity's first interstellar vessel, Alexander and Nora stood side by side, watching alien suns bleed colors Earth had no names for. Where once humans had been seen as the apprentices of the galaxy, now they were regarded as custodians of something greater. Nora teased him softly. "Funny. You scored 0, and now you're lecturing the galaxy." Alexander touched the recorder at his throat. Inside was a growing archive of languages thought dead. Toshiro, Gaelic, Nahuatl, countless tongues whispered by ancestors who had refused to let silence win. "Sometimes," he said quietly, "the only way forward is to remember the way back." And so began a new era. Alien fleets retuned their shields not against weapons, but in harmony with the sleeping syllables Alexander carried. The first language became more than communication. It became connection, a force that bound civilizations in a web of shared meaning. The Zephyrians, once unyielding arbiters, now asked humanity for guidance, and humanity, long underestimated, long overlooked, found itself holding a power no fleet, no empire, no weapon could match. For in the end, it wasn't strength of arms that shattered the galaxy's defenses. It was a voice carrying the memory of all who had come before. Alexander Chen, the man who scored 0, became the bridge the galaxy had been searching for. His failure was not a failure at all. It was proof that humanity's greatest gift was not in outpacing others, but in remembering what others had forgotten. And as stars awaited their first true lessons in how to speak, one truth echoed across the void. Sometimes the smallest human whispers can shake empires built on silence.